Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the studios of Grafton TV at 26 Providence Road. This is Meet the Candidate. I'm Bob Ditoma. My guest in studio is currently the chair of the school committee. Her name is Laura Often, running for re-election.
Thank you, Bob. Thanks for having me.
Nice to have you always. We were chatting before we went on the air, and 10 years you've been doing this. So it's not quite a lifelong passion, but a passion nonetheless.
Yeah, it's certainly been a passion for the past 10 years. I got involved in the Grafton schools before my kids were even in school. I was on the superintendent search committee, and I hope to be serving the schools long after they're there. To me, education is the most #1 priority we have for our town, for our students, and really for the future of the country. So I hope to stay and continue the good work we've been doing and continue to grow our schools.
And I believe you don't have a background in education.
That's correct. I have a background in communications, public relations. I started because my family is all educators. My sister, my father was, my mother-in-law, and I tell the story a lot, but my father was on the school board in my hometown when I was a senior in high school, and I watched him, and he's always been was a huge role model for me. He unfortunately passed shortly into my career on the school committee, but he lived to see me get elected, and that's always meant a lot to me.
Interesting. The topics that come before a school committee, or the topics that you and the rest of the members have to deal with every year, are pretty much the same. Policy, the budget. What other things are you dealing with that the general population might not be aware of?
Sure, yeah, and you're right. Technically what falls under our purview is the budget, policy, and our superintendent. So, and we're there to give guidance. We work negotiations as well, so we're in charge of negotiating with our teachers, our paras, our nurses, and our custodians. We don't, our admin are non-union. We don't work with them at all. They go under the superintendent. And I think you're right. Some of the same issues come up every year. In Grafton, I think our biggest issue that faces us as a town is the budget. We have a small budget compared to other towns, just a full town. We get a large piece of that small budget, but it's still a small budget. And as Jay likes to say, and I will repeat it, it is probably the best value you will ever get for your money is having your kid be educated in Grafton. One of the things we did this year for policy, which I'm quite proud of, is that we moved our policy over from an internal usage to the Massachusetts Association of School Committee, their policies, to make sure they're up to date. We managed to migrate over 300 policies, which is a lot. Grafton really tried to policy itself out of situations in the past, and we're trying to take a more forward look with the policies. And that's the nitty-gritty of our day, but those policies then impact things like dress code, things like grading, things like homework, safety, bullying, things in schools. So we're proud of that achievement, and we still have work to do to make sure that they're updated. And then we're still dealing with the fallout from the pandemic. That, I think, is still a huge challenge for us. We're seeing that it took a toll on our students and our faculty mentally and academically as well. So moving forward, I think we need people with leadership and the relationships with those faculty members and students to continue to help move them in the different direction that our world has taken.
Just so I understand, the policy change, so you were looking for someone to give you guidance and perhaps a template, rather than having to try and write everything from scratch?
Well, Grafton has always had great policy. In fact, it's my understanding that some of the other town departments have looked at us as leaders on the school committee. We've always reviewed our policy. Because we had so many, and because policy is intensive, it would take a lot of our time in meetings where we would be looking over minutia like spelling errors, grammar, stuff that really shouldn't be taking up the time of a full committee. The subcommittee would meet and would meet and then review all the policies, make sure they're up to date. Are they still up into the changing laws? And it's a lot to keep track of. So the Massachusetts of School Committee Associations, which I will say I'm on the board of. I've been very active in that organization. They host for districts all over. They have sample policies. These people who have written these policies are policy experts. They are education policy experts. So what we were doing anyway was going and looking to see those policies and updating it. So we kind of did a hybrid. All of our Grafton policies that were updated already, we kept those because they had to be Grafton specific, but the rest of them that we could just take a model policy and combine, we did. So now currently and then we were also having our school administration staff update the policies, and that's not something they really have the time or bandwidth to do, and that's not something I want them to be doing with their time. So now we have somebody we outsourced it a bit, so they did it, and we still have access, there's still our policies, we still make changes to them as needed. It was a great decision because it really could free up the committee and administration time to really focus on what matters.
How much time, let me rephrase that, what percentage of the budget does the school committee actually work with, or is it exclusively in Dr. Cummings?
Once we approve the budget, it's exclusively in Dr. Cummings' hands. So he'll give us, we just went through our season. In fact, we just voted last week on the budget and approved it. It's a level service budget, so we're not really adding anything, we're not taking anything away, we're trying to keep within the means of the 5th year of the override, which is tight, and then he can do what he needs to do. He might say, oh, we really need to hire somebody, and then we need to shift these positions. He has free reign to do that.
So we dealt with COVID.
We did, sort of, yes.
Sort of.
We did, and I'm proud to say I led the district through COVID. As a school committee chair, I was there every step of the way in 2020, and then 2021, I was there online answering questions. I led our Zoom meetings during a most difficult time that none of us could have predicted, and I really feel like we did the best job we could in completely unknown situation, and I'm proud of the work I did, and I'm proud of the work the committee did, and I'm proud of the work the district did.
So COVID, we've dealt with vaping. What's next? What's the new thing that's coming? Keeping people awake at night?
What's the new thing that's keeping people awake at night? It's a great question. Besides the budget, budget keeps me awake at night.
The budget is always there.
I would say I'm still going to hold on to that mental health, the bullying. And it's not bullying like we used to think of. My kids always laugh at me. They're like, Mom, nobody's pushing kids into lockers. And to be fair, nobody was pushing kids into lockers when I went to school. But it's that known bullying that we think about. I think we face it, and Grafton is certainly not alone, where the kids, they are bombarded by social media all day. They don't get to go home and relax. They see either their friends having a good time and they're not invited. And that starts, and they're not really equipped to process it. And as parents, we're not equipped to process it because we didn't have to go through it. So it's a new generation that we're raising from a generation that really didn't understand it. And I think you can't go to school and learn if you're not feeling mentally fit. And I think we've made great strides in helping and trying to address this, but it's obviously still a problem. It starts at home. The schools can only do so much, but I really want kids to come to school and feel safe. And when I hear that some people think their kids aren't feeling safe, that keeps me up at night. And that's when we go into what can we do.
So not so much traditional bullying in school, but more shifted over to online.
I mean, yeah, I think it happens a lot more online than in school. Obviously, things happen all the time with people. Like I said, I don't think Grafton has a distinctive problem versus any other district, but I would be wrong if I said, oh, it completely didn't happen in Grafton. And I know that's something Dr. Cummings has been working on with the staffing and everybody. Nobody wants to see that, and we, again, want kids to feel safe.
So when I attend school in the morning and I'm having a bad day, I'm having a mental health issue, who deals with that?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question.
I'm fine now, but just...
Good. I'm glad you asked, Bob, but I'm sorry you've been going through that. I would hope there would always be someone in the building that you can talk to. We were able, through some of the COVID funding that we received, hire adjustment counselors for all of our schools now, which when I started, I think maybe we had 1 or 2. Now we have them in each of the schools, and kids are there with a qualified person. Our goal is always connection. That's one of our pillars this year in our strategic plan, is helping kids make connections, maybe with one adult or another, or the adjustment counselor, somebody that they can go to trust. If and we're doing surveys to find out, do they actually have that trust, and what can we do differently? Because that's the most important thing. We have technology that can monitor certain words that kids are using that will pick up if somebody's making a threat to themselves or others. And with that, we were even able to step in and stop something happening to somebody themselves. It wasn't a large, wide threat. But we're really trying to look out for students and our faculty. Their mental health is just as important.
What other things do you get involved in town besides school committee?
Well, I've been in a lot of activities since I moved to Grafton. I was on Apple Tree Arts' board for many years. I led the capital campaign, so now that beautiful One Grafton Common is accessible and is a beautiful art space. I'm no longer on the board, but I'm active in the community theater group over there. I take improv classes, and I'm currently in a play, which I'm super excited about. It's the second weekend of April. It's a comedy, so check it out.
What's the title?
It's called Vanya, Sonia, Masha, and Spike. It's by Christopher Durang. It's kind of a play off of Chekhov, but you don't have to know Chekhov, and it's pretty fun. I was for years a Girl Scout leader. I currently volunteer at the Grafton Food Bank. That is a big passion of mine. One of my previous jobs was doing communications for another town's food bank, and when I left there, I wanted to continue helping, and that's a need we're seeing in Grafton, and I'll do a plug for the food bank. It's a great community, and it's open to anyone who's a Grafton resident. And there's no shame in asking for help, and we're there to help supplement, especially with the rising prices of groceries these days.
So you're stocking shelves, you're putting back packages together?
I usually stock shelves. When my schedule permits, I love to help people picking out their groceries and helping them to their car. I love talking to people and just seeing people, so that's my favorite, but I'm happy to do whatever is needed.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a great place.
Yeah. It's always busy. I know when I pull up to the parking lot, you can always tell, I forgot today's food bank day. And they've expanded, and with ARPA funds, we were able to help get some more refrigerators. So now there's cheese and milk and eggs and butter. And it's a big help to help supplement. It's more than just boxed macaroni and cheese.
Absolutely. Yep, it's more than that. We have fresh produce. I'm very impressed. It's a great organization.
Great. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to talk to the camera, talk to the viewer at home, and you can tell them how you feel about the school committee and take it away.
Yeah, well, thanks again, Bob, for having me in. My name's Laura Often. I hope that you know me by now. If you don't, if you have questions, please reach out to me. I have a Facebook page. It's Vote Often. My email, you can reach me at lauraoften@gmail.com. I've been on this committee for 10 years, and I hope to continue the good work I've done. When we're looking ahead at budget challenges, policy changes, emotional challenges with our youth and academic, I think you would want somebody who is a true leader, who has the experience and the commitment to guide you through the next phase of Grafton education. It has been the honor of my lifetime to serve the people of Grafton. I know that I am here for you, so please always reach out. I'm happy to have coffee. I'm happy to take a walk with you, whatever you need to help you feel comfortable. And I hope that you will vote for me on May 21st. Vote often. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
I think Bill liked it. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. It's always good to have you in the studio.
Oh, it's nice.
My guest has been the current chair of the school committee, Laura Often, and she's running for re-election. On behalf of all the talented people who work here at Grafton TV, I'm Bob Ditoma. Thank you for watching.